We are live. We're on there. You don't have to have that too close.
No.
It's omnidirectional. All right. Welcome to Radiation Island. Our guest this week is Joe. Joe, that's your camera there if you want to look into the eyes of the people.
Hi, people.
We are on in preparation for tomorrow, which is the fucking hardcore shutdown. So, no gangbangs. No French ticklers.
Countdown to the end of the world, man.
Yeah.
They shut it down on Monday. The tanks come on Wednesday.
They're already here.
Eat
if
your
you look
cheeseburger.
over here, you can see the bushes. They're just like these fake palm trees that they move out of the way, and the tanks roll out.
We're done.
Joe, how has the shutdown affected you?
Well, I'm no longer bartending. That was a huge part of my income.
Is there any type of plan or response of when things will get back?
No, the
together?
bar down the street from my house tried to open on Friday, and the police shut them down.
Really?
Damn.
They went in there and just
Told them they couldn't be open.
oh, I thought maybe they started breaking bottles, throwing shit around.
Yeah, it's a prohibition all over again.
You think this is funny, Maurice? You're shut down. So let's see here. Me and Joe's life intersected working at the Funny Bone. One of the particular things I remember about that was we were both door guys, and for some reason, instead of being just a bouncer type mentality, I thought of it as like the Marines. Like we were the few and the proud, the frontline troops against all these people. I don't think it helped really having Duck tell me all these stories about him getting stabbed and cut with a knife in the 80s. But there was one night after the open mic, we're at Backstreet Jazz and Blues.
I know exactly what you're going to say.
We're drinking, we're partying, we're singing karaoke, and I'm standing actually by a table, by the doors going out, and all of a sudden Joe comes up to me and he goes, "I think I'm going to get in a fight." And sure enough, some guy comes up and punches him in the face. So then Joe grabs him and I grab him. We would both start punching him. We go in a huge tumble out the door, and I go to punch the guy in the face and he moves. I punch Joe in the throat. Joe goes to punch the guy moves. He hits me in the side of the cheek. We go spilling out in this huge cartoonish cat fight of rolling bodies out the door into the main atrium, and I'm on top of the guy, and I got my arm around his throat, and I'm choking him, and I look up, and I see the guy leave, and I'm choking Joe, and not the actual guy.
Fighting looks so easy in a movie, right?
It does, dude. There's all these tag teams, and then you get hit.
Oh, if it was scripted, we would have kicked the shit out of him.
Yeah. And then, do you remember who the girl was? Did you just met her that night? What was the story?
Mandy, she was dating him, and he got jealous. I bought her a shot. And that's what started the whole thing. It was her 30th birthday.
Okay.
And she is 40 now, so that's been 10 years ago.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
Time's been really tough on me.
And then when I went through my court case, there was a moment where they were trying to set it up for me to turn myself in, but my lawyer's fee was going to get rolled over into my bond since they knew. So basically I would pay the bond, and then once everything was over, that would get transferred into the overall cost for my lawyer. My lawyer was $3,000. My bail was $25,000, and they were trying to get the 10% authorized so I could turn myself in, and then my lawyer would basically handle all this. But it took a while. So the big fear is that Friday they would show up to arrest me, and then I would be stuck in jail all weekend till my lawyer could get things going. So on the weekends, I would leave my house and I would go stay at Joe's apartment in Central West End.
Yeah, I remember that. You called me and you go, "Hey, they might arrest me. I need someone to live with for a weekend." It's like, you come over here. You're like, "Yeah." It's thinking, who would harbor a fugitive and not care? You were the first one I called.
Yeah.
You left your weed at my house, and my mom came over a couple days later. It's like, "Hey, Mom, you want some weed?" Poggi left his weed here.
Yeah.
I go, he's got a warrant for his arrest. She's like, Good for him thinking ahead like that. I don't want to. You leave that weed here for him when he comes home.
We did a show, me, Joe, and Dano, and we ended up staying at Joe's mom's house afterwards. And of course, super drunk. We woke up in the morning, and I don't even remember going back there. But I wake up off the couch, and the weed I had was super potent, and you could, like, the whole room smelled like it, even though it was in my pocket. But knowing I was hungover, I go outside to smoke a cigarette, and I kind of walk to the edge of the driveway and start violently throwing up whatever booze was still left in my system. And all these cats started running out of the bushes. There was like 10 or 15 random cats
Do you remember the
feasting on vomit.
Where Sedalia, Missouri? We stayed at the Stardust Inn.
Yeah, when we went
You
to
and I
the bar.
had to share a bed.
We went to the bar, and the bartender was like, "Oh, yeah, I know that hotel or that motel. I was in an orgy over there." We were like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, the MC brought you up by the wrong name. It was a black guy. And you go, yeah, keep it going for Al Roker.
Yeah, it was a skinny
Al
black
Roker.
guy. It was literally like 2 semi-trailers that they had cut a hole in the building, and like that was the depth of the stage. It was Hogs and Honeys.
Yeah, Hogs and Honeys.
Hogs and Honeys. That's where comedy will get you, Rob.
Oh, dude, it sounds like a really cool. Are they still open?
They're not doing comedy
Do
anymore.
they do carry out?
I have no clue.
Can I
And then
do?
there was that Cuba,
Hopefully they have the package liquor.
No
that
shit,
Cuba,
dude.
Missouri.
That's
room.
gonna keep the
Yeah,
society
did I do
afloat.
that with you?
Yeah, Carlos sent us down there.
I did that room probably once a month.
I was just say I did it like 3 or 4 times in the 7 months
Yeah.
it was open.
Dave would call me Wednesday afternoon. Oh, man, I screwed up. I don't have a feature. Any chance you can feature down there tonight?
Head on down there, Joe.
Like, Dave,
Now-
I don't have a car. Hey, I'll pick you up. It's okay.
One of the things that you became like the reoccurring joke around the Funny Bone was your paratrooper knife story.
Yeah.
And we'll get to the story in a second, but the crux of that story is growing up, your mom actually took in a number of foster children.
Yeah, a whole bunch of them.
Now, how old were you when they started?
14.
Okay, so 14, she realized she was unfulfilled with her children. So she opened her doors up to strange children's.
She gave you a chance.
Was there like a family meeting before that came into play, or how did that work?
No, I can tell you exactly how it happened. My dad owned a trucking company.
Okay.
He was actually very successful. The problem is, if he made $100,000, he'd spend $200,000.
Okay.
And we went broke, and for some reason, my sister wanted to go to college. It's all about Julie. And my mom saw an ad in the paper. They were looking for foster parents, and like it pays this much. Like, okay, well, we can do this. And then they started taking them in. And holy shit, they did not stop taking them in.
So how many biological brothers and sisters do you have?
That's a loaded question.
The
My
jury's
dad,
out?
yeah, my dad had 8 kids with his first wife. The last one came out half black. We do not think she's his. Then there's a couple others we're not sure about. I have 2 brothers from my mom's first husband, and then my sister from my mom and dad. My sister's my only full-blooded biological sibling. But yeah, I'm guessing 5 or 6 brothers and sisters from my dad's first marriage, and then 2 from my mom's first marriage. And my sister and me. And then we adopted Jeremy and Reginald and Logan.
Okay. Are you still in contact with everybody now?
Yeah.
Like, you still Facebook and everything?
Yeah. Jason, he was never adopted. He's my brother. I grew up with him.
Right.
He's the one that stabbed me in the eyeball.
Right. He worked at
Brothers,
the Funny
Yeah.
Bone.
you got to be real close
My 40th
to get
birthday
over an
party.
eyeball stabbing.
His wife, that was the best present you could ever get. His wife made a cake in the shape of an eyeball and took a paratrooper knife and stuck it right in the center of the eyeball. It's like, I have something for it. It's like, okay, yeah. It's like, oh, look. I was like, Hey, that's really clever.
Did he stab you in the center of the eye or like on the side?
Tell the story. How did
he
the
nick
story
it?
happen?
It was a
I mean, your eyes look like. Do
you
they
can
work?
still see the hole. I can't focus with my left eye. If the light hits it right, you can still see the hole. But
I don't want to see your hole.
no, wrong. Go ahead, touch my hole. Touch it.
With your tongue.
Can't do that anymore, Steve. No more eye licking.
So,
All right, tell the
what
story.
happened?
We were 16 years old. The closest thing we could get to porn was a movie called Starlet, a behind-the-scenes look at the adult film industry. We were watching that, and another kid, Jesse, grabbed this paratrooper knife. He's playing with it, and he goes, Jason walked over, he goes, give me that before you hurt someone. And then he jumped on top of me. I was laying on my bed. Jumped on top of me, he goes, you scared? I go, no, I'm not scared. And my arm was up, and I moved my arm, and his arm was resting on my arm, and the knife just went right in my eyeball.
Did you draw blood?
No.
Okay.
My eyeball was as flat as a pancake. I caught all the fluid in my hands when I sat up.
Oh.
All the fluid came out. And
The eyeball deflated?
yeah, it did. It deflated. There's
Oh, fuck.
caught all the fluid, and Jason's laughing. He's like, I got you in the nose. And he looked at me, and you could tell my eyeball was fucked up.
Right.
He looked at me. He just started crying like a little bitch.
I bet.
Oh God, I'm so sorry. I was like, I didn't eat all day. It was the day I got my driver's license. I hadn't eaten since like 10 o'clock in the morning. And my mom had cube steak, peas, and fried potatoes. And man, that's still one of my favorite meals.
Yeah,
So
it
you
does
ate
sound
that
good.
and then went to the...
No, she wouldn't let me eat.
Oh, really?
Thank God, because I would have had to pump my stomach because vomiting or anything like that.
Oh, with the anesthesia?
Yeah, it would have blown my eyeball. And then
That's a day right there.
then the doctor told me, he goes, you can't lift anything heavier than 5 pounds for 6 weeks. You can't bend over below your waist. Try really hard not to sneeze. The pressure goes up. And
Right.
he also told me I'm never allowed to go bungee jumping.
Because it'll just fling out of your head?
I don't know. It's the pressure. He goes, I can go parachuting. But yeah, I was ruined my plans. I was going to be a professional bungee jumper. And
Rubber bands never look better on a man, Joe.
yeah, well.
So, did you remember the first foster kid that came to the house that showed up?
Yep. It was a
What?
girl.
What happened?
Oh, she was cute.
You were like,
hey,
this
Dad.
is a big deal.
Oh, I walked in. I thought it was my sister's friend. They go, Joe, this is Chrissy. She's going to be living with us for a while. I was like, fucking happy birthday, Joe. She lived with us for about 3 weeks, ran away. She went to McDonald's, never came home. And then next time we saw her, she was on Montel Williams.
Really?
She was sharing the same boyfriend with her mom.
Gee, well, at least she found her mom.
Yeah. Oh.
You gotta look on the bright sides.
Yeah, her mom would come over. She liked him. She liked the boys young.
How many? Do you know how many foster kids total you guys had?
I thought it was 70 something, but it turns out it was 55 because we'd get some kids twice. They would move them away and then they'd come back.
Okay.
So yeah, I think it was like 55 or 56.
Now, when you're fostering kids, they don't stay there permanently, right? They stay there temporarily till they find a permanent house for them.
No. It when my parents were doing it, some of them it was just the parents needed help, and they would go back to most of them stayed in touch with their parents.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't like
Yeah, it wasn't.
dropped at a fire station kind of deal.
No.
And then they ended up with you guys.
No, Jason, he's one of the only cases in Missouri. He came to our house, and that was the only foster home he was ever in.
Really?
Yeah, he came to our house. He was sleeping in the basement on the couch, and they told him, we don't have a bedroom for him. And they're like, well, just keep him for a little while longer. And Jason and I did not get along for about 2 weeks.
Really?
Couldn't stand each other. And then there was a girl, Stephanie, did not like her. Still really don't like her. But he was smitten for Stephanie. And then we were playing pool one night in the basement, and we wanted to watch some softcore porn movie. Stephanie's like, I'm not going to watch this. And Jason goes, I think majority rules. Joe, you want to watch this? Like, yep. After that, majority rules. Everything Jason and I wanted to do, we did.
Majority rules.
What kind of... Obviously, you have stories of kids coming in and then running away like immediately, right?
Yeah. Yeah, wow. One kid, Tony, who's also my brother, he was at Respite. Respite was where they would send kids so the foster parents could get a break for a weekend. He went for a walk. Him and another kid went for a walk. They weren't running away, but the people doing Respite called the police and said, these kids ran away. And then he was picked up, and only time he ever went to Respite at our house.
Really?
After that, they brought him back to our house, and he's like, I didn't run away. And my parents were like, well, yeah, I don't think you're going to go to Respite anymore. He was, Tony's a sweetheart.
Did you ever get any, like, fist fights or confrontations with any of the other kids?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, you have that many boys living in a house, there's going to be fights.
How many, like, I mean, at any time were there? Like, what was the
7.
most? 7? 7 foster kids or 7 kids total?
7, I think it was 7 foster kids.
God damn, man, that sounds like the old lady who lived in a shoe.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean,
We had
Fucking
7
kids
foster
coming out of
kids.
every goddamn hole.
At one point, I think we had 7 foster kids. My mom, my dad, my cousin lived there, my brother lived there, my sister lived there, I lived there.
How big was this house?
Poji's been there.
yeah.
It's not that big.
I mean, it's a pretty good size, but when you consider the amount of bodies living in there at one time.
Yeah, 12 people
I
in
mean,
one house. is
Nobody
a
had
lot.
their own room.
Yeah,
For
no.
the most part.
Oh, my best friend Sean lived there too. It was my cousin, my brother, and me shared my room. Sean was in the basement with Jason and Pat. Or no, Pat and Tony. And then, yeah, no one had their own room.
This sounds like a late 70s sitcom, you know? Me and my foster family.
Right. Who was the worst foster kid, would you say? Does any name jump to mind?
Yeah. Yeah, he stole... I kept missing shirts. I like to buy expensive clothes when I had a job.
Right.
And my dad and I saved dimes. And I had almost $1,000 in dimes. And I kept telling my mom, I go, all my shirts are missing. She goes, well, I don't know what to tell you. And then turns out this kid was taking my dimes and my expensive shirt, wrapping the dimes in the shirt, and taking them home, and his mom would cash them in for him.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wait, why dimes?
Because that's what he was collecting. That was
I know,
really-
I mean, that's why.
Nobody had access.
Why did no? Why did you collect dimes?
My dad...
What's the attraction? That's
bought,
what I'm...
No, my dad bought me a little like, jar kind of thing. He goes, I wonder how many dimes we can fit in this. So we just started saving dimes.
Oh, okay. That
And
makes
then
sense.
he got me this huge pickle jar. It was, I believe, his mother's. It was a giant pickle jar, and it was about halfway filled up. And then, huh, that looks a little. And I pulled all the dimes out. And by the way, it takes a long time to count that many dimes. But I counted them, I don't know, a few months before, and I had like $600 in dimes. And then when I went to count them, it was down to like 120.
That's a lot of damn dimes.
It's a lot of dimes.
Yeah.
But you gotta think, I mean, some fucking poor kid with no shit, he's fucking foster kid.
Joe didn't feel sorry for him.
No, I don't hold a grudge at all. I understand. I was pissed at the time. I was pissed for years, but I don't hold a grudge against any of those kids for the stuff they stole or what they did.
Did any of them
gotta
end
be-
up dying?
Yes, Chris Carter.
Oh, really?
He got really bad in the drugs. He got in a fight with his girlfriend. She was in a bar with another guy. He walked into the bar with a shotgun. They called the police. He walked out when the police showed up with a shotgun, fired a shot, and he was shot, I think, like 12, 14 times.
Jesus. How long ago was that?
Shit, I was 16,
Okay.
so he
Pretty self
probably 21, 22 when that happened.
Okay.
He's the same age as me. Then we had another kid, Chad Sang, who had cystic fibrosis. He passed away from the disease at 27.
Okay.
That's terrible.
Now, a large part of your comedy act was talking about your dad passing.
Yeah?
How old were you when that happened?
26.
Really? And you guys, one of the jokes that you make is that you drove him from here to Kansas City?
No, here to Central Kansas.
Here to Central Kansas.
Halfway to Colorado.
Yourself. Was it in the van you used to drive?
Yeah, it was a blue van that you were in the back seat of when you were a fugitive.
Yeah. How did that conversation take place?
We went. My dad died. We were at the funeral home, and my mom was. Well, everyone was just devastated. But she's like, "Oh my God, he just bought this new van. I have payments for 5 years. I have this." And she's like, "Oh my God," she was just. And then we went to the funeral home. He wanted to be buried in Hudson, Kansas.
Was that where he was from? Or
No, that's where my mom's family plot is.
Okay.
But that's where he wanted to be buried. And we were at the funeral home, and they said that they would charge $1,000 plus hotel and gas to transport him from New Haven, Missouri to Hudson, Kansas. And I go, can we take the seats out of the back of the van and just drive him ourselves? And I was, Joe, oh my God. And then she thought, I was like, can we? And he went and he looked it up. He goes, yeah, it's going to be, I think, $7 for a permit to drive him.
And you drove.
I drove part of the way, and then Tony drove the rest of the way.
How long of a drive was it?
8, 9 hours.
Okay.
There was, I can't think of was it Fort Riley? Was it an armed forces base in Kansas? They have a big cannon on the top of the hill. Every time we would drive by, didn't matter how old you were, my dad would start hitting you if you were asleep. He was like, wake up, big gun, look at the big gun. And Tony, when he was driving by, he started hitting the cast going, wake up, fucker, big gun, take a look at the big gun.
Did that traumatize you, having to drive?
No, it was actually very comforting.
Really? Just to know that you were kind of in charge of overseeing it?
Yeah, it was. From here to Kansas was, I think, a 7-car funeral procession.
Really?
I mean, we didn't have the hazards
and
on and all that crap, but yeah, everyone just followed each other. It was actually very comforting. I'm glad we did it.
Right.
The van wound up getting booted and towed away, but
not with your dad in it though.
no, he was in it. I think I left it alone.
Okay. Why did the van get... Oh, is that the one that you
That's-
left in the Central West End and the windows were broken and homeless people were climbing inside of it?
No, the door. The windows weren't broken. The door would just open. It had the automatic doors. The door would just open for no reason. I'd walk down, the door would be wide open. No one ever got in there. I mean, it was parked on Lindell,
Right.
which is a busy street, and I'd walk like, son of a bitch, someone got it. Nobody touched a thing. Maybe they thought it was a bait car.
Where'd you live on Lindell?
Jackson Arms,
Oh, okay.
Lindell and Taylor.
Yeah.
Did you get the collecting Budweiser beer steins from your dad, or is that a hobby you got into?
No, it was my dad. He had a bunch of them when I was growing up. He loved that stuff. He liked to buy stuff.
Yeah, because I remember when you were living in your apartment, you had so many, different, I took some photos of you have like a dancing Rick James doll.
Oh, not Rick James. James Brown.
James Brown. A signed Tommy Chong bong.
Everyone's got one of those.
Budweiser beer steins, because at one point, did you win the lottery or you hit a jackpot on scratchers?
No. When I got stabbed in the eye, the insurance company my mom had paid me $80,000 right out of high school.
And at some point you bought a hat factory with this money?
I bought a hat factory. I owned a trucking company. Before I was 21, I blew through $500,000 and filed bankruptcy.
How were you living your life to where you were burning through money that fast?
Wasn't hard.
Were you just buying drinks for everybody at the bar, or?
Oh yeah, I would. I wasn't 21, but the bars knew I had. Well, it's a small town. They knew I had money. They would let me in, and they knew I'd pick up everyone's tab. I mean, $500. The most expensive tab I picked up at a bar, I think, was like a little over $500.
Jesus. And that was one person or just you buying drinks for everyone?
No, it was a whole group of us.
Okay. I would hope that price, unless you were drinking something.
Where was the hat factory?
Berger, Missouri.
Berger.
You ever see Walker, Texas Ranger?
Yeah.
Yeah, the hat he wears, Beaver brand hat. I own the factory that it was produced at.
Oh, nice. What happened to that? That's a pretty interesting, business. How did you get in and out of the hat factory?
It wasn't an operating hat factory. It was shut down. We bought it to warehouse in.
Oh, okay.
And they had all sorts of hats and stuff. But I bought it for $60,000. And then nobody wants to warehouse in Berger, Missouri for some reason. I don't know who would want to be in Berger to begin with. But bought it for $60,000, put it up for sale, and 6 months later I sold it for $100,000.
Nice little profit.
It was. I was pretty happy.
How'd the trucking company work out?
It went great for a while. I was actually making good money. Actually, I was making more money than I am now. And then I lost 2 accounts, and then it just started to
spiral.
Yeah, it was my dad's. I took it from my dad.
Okay.
And his health was going down, and I was 18, though.
Yeah, that's a
not a lot of knowledge
to learn lessons.
Yeah, not a lot of knowledge when you're 18.
No.
Gee, so what did your dad start to have happen to him?
He had 52 surgeries. When he was 16 in 1951, he was riding up in a freight elevator, and the brakes on the cart broke, knocked him off his balance, and drug him up 3 floors with both legs hanging out of the elevator.
Oh, fuck.
You're destroying Ron with your insane stories.
He said he looked down. He said he didn't feel a thing. Said it was completely numb. He was in shock, but he looked down and the bones were hanging out of his legs. And he was trying to push the bones back in his legs.
Trying to push the bones back in his legs.
And then he said he started slamming his head on the elevator floor trying to knock himself out. He didn't want to be awake. And then one of the guys he worked with put his jacket under his head so he couldn't hurt himself. And
imagine experiencing something so traumatic you were trying to knock yourself out.
That's the 50s, they knew things back then.
Yeah.
Oh, no, bones are sticking out. Knock yourself out, Jim.
His foreman, the guy that was in charge of his department, when they were loading him in the ambulance, he goes, if you weren't fucking around, none of this would have happened. And the guy that was my dad said he was an old guy. I'm guessing he's probably was 40 at the time. And he goes, he's going to the hospital with me. And the foreman said, yeah, you go to the hospital, you're fired. And he goes, well, I guess I'll be looking for a new job tomorrow.
And went with your dad to the hospital?
Yep. Never got fired.
Wow. So did your dad get a payout from that? Or
$3,000.
Jeez, times were different.
Yeah, you got $80 for the eye, and then $3,000 you got to push your bones back. They're both pretty fucking horrible. The Lehnig boys have a little bit of trouble keeping their insides in.
The ironic thing is we figured out our ages. There was less than a 2-week age difference from when he was crushed and when I was stabbed.
Wow.
They told him when he was crushed in the elevator, the doctor said, when you wake up, you're not going to have any legs. And he said, cut him off the neck. I don't want to live without legs. Doctor said, I can save him, but you'll never walk again. And he said, you save him, I will walk again. He played softball, soccer, drove a truck, opened a trucking company. I mean, he lost his leg a year before he died. They had to cut it off.
Because of injuries from the crushing?
Gangrene set in his right leg, which I never noticed how bad it smelled until I was in the pre-op room with him. And I have a very weak stomach. I had to leave the room.
Because of the gangrene smell?
Yeah. Ugh. It was rotting flesh.
Yeah. Oof. So that's so weird that all those years later that he would have gangrene from an injury. I mean, that's...
Yeah, he had...
It's hard to wrap your head around.
He had all sorts of... He ran over his own foot. That one amused me.
With the truck?
No, he was in a car. He was a teenager trying to impress some girls. He had an overcoat on. He was leaning out the door, and he backed up really fast. The tire caught his coat, pulled him out, ran over his foot, and hit a teacher's car.
Fuck.
Has that been the worst injury in the Lehnig dynasty?
Was the girl impressed?
Mrs. Applebaum was a teacher he hit.
Oh, fuck.
And he said she was a bitch.
Yeah, well.
He goes, she threw a fit. I was like, I don't care. I have insurance. Here you go.
Wow. The 50s were a different time.
Sean tells me a story of you guys being at your apartment having a cookout.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
And you got hammered and was ready to attack a guy with a knife.
Okay.
A paratrooper knife?
That's Sean's version of the story.
That's actually pretty accurate. What happened there? It was... He wasn't supposed to be... I didn't care. He snuck into the pool area. But Sean, Dano, and Crystal, you know Crystal.
Yeah.
They were all up in my apartment, and he started arguing with me over pot. I go, I don't even smoke pot. I don't care. And the huge argument broke out, and he broke his wine glass and held it to my throat. He goes, I'll kill you. I go, motherfucker, you better cut me deep, because I'm going to fucking kill you if you don't.
Right. You guys are like RoboCop.
Then I leaned forward, I put, had the glass against my throat. Leaned forward, I was like, fucking do it. And he shit his pants. I mean, he just dropped that glass and started running. I started chasing him. Then Dano walked out. He goes, what the hell's going on? I was like, I'm going to kill this motherfucker. I'm spitting on him and trying to hit him. And I was like, Jesus Christ, Joe, get in the house. So I went upstairs and I grabbed a butcher knife. It's like, that motherfucker come at me with a wine glass, I'll kill him.
Yeah. I mean, I don't blame you. Have you...
He didn't know about the paratrooper knife. That guy didn't know.
I didn't have the paratrooper
No, I'm saying the guy who attacked you didn't know who he was fucking with.
Yeah.
The guy who held his own eye juice.
I did. I'll tell you what, you'd be surprised how much fluid is in your eye. It filled my hand up.
I also remember it was the summertime, and
I thought you said you had a weak stomach.
I did.
Yeah, it's just eye juice.
Tears.
It's just eye juice.
It's just tears.
It's all it was tears.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, no blood, no pus, nothing. Just a handful of tears.
That sounds like a heavy metal album.
It sounds more like
Handful of Tears.
It sounds more like
I'll start a band. We'll call it Handful of Tears.
It sounds like a Cure song, more like.
Now, another funny story I remember is I had to come in and work for you on one of your nights. You were supposed to be at the club because you had gotten a job weed whacking the overgrown brush by some train tracks. And it was really tall brush, and Joe takes his shirt off and starts whacking away and not realizing he was getting covered in chiggers.
No, I didn't take my shirt off. No, I got poison ivy and chiggers. I mean, it was horrible.
I mean, your eyes swelled up.
Yeah.
Like around your eyes. It was swelled up to where you couldn't even see them. Like Elephant Man.
I did that for 3 days. The second night I called my boss. I go, look, I can't do this. I go, I'll do anything else, but I cannot. I go, I have poison ivy and chiggers. I'm going to spend more money on medicine than I'm making. I itch in places I don't want to itch, and I itch in places I really don't want to itch. And he started laughing. He goes, you never have to do that again. So that was brutal.
Was that the same boss that did the siding?
No.
That was different?
No, Bill was my siding boss. I love Bill. Bill's like a second father to me.
Okay. And now, Jimmy Rice gets mixed in at some point. Do you remember when you met Jimmy Rice the first time you...
He's the one that got me in the Funny Bone.
Really?
Yeah, I took a sketch writing class, and I wrote a sketch, and he goes, hey, that's really funny. You ever think of doing stand-up comedy? I go, yeah, I have. He goes, go to an open mic with me. Once you see these open micers, you won't be nearly as nervous as you are now. And then I took the workshop with Matt and Jimmy.
Okay.
And then I started doing it. And Jimmy Rice kissed my ass for getting me in the Funny Bone.
Have you talked to Jimmy? When was the last time you talked to Jimmy?
It's been over a year.
Yeah.
We did. It was. I don't know why Dave did this. He booked. You remember Fairview Heights? The
Yes.
Bible?
That's where I remember first meeting you was on that Friday's patio after an open mic. We were smoking and drinking.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds about right. But Dave booked me, Jimmy Rice, and Dan O'Sullivan all in the same week. We set a record for the most booze ever drank by comics. Jimmy almost went to jail. Then he went downstairs. It was Saturday morning. He was still drunk from Friday night. I don't think he'd quit drinking. He went down on his boxer shorts, got kicked out of the lobby for looking up porn on the internet. When they kicked him out of the lobby, the donut delivery guy was there, and he had the back doors open. Jimmy waited for him to turn the corner, and Jimmy just went and grabbed 2 cases of donuts. Went back up to his room. I woke up, and Dano and Jimmy are just standing like, "Hey, you want a donut?" I was like, "Where'd you get donuts?" Jimmy was like, "I stole 2 cases of them. We have plenty."
Didn't they almost throw you guys out of the hotel room?
No, the police were called on Jimmy.
Oh,
I was gone at that. Dano and I had left the room. It was Jeff, Shockey, and Jimmy.
Okay.
And apparently they just ripped apart the room, and someone...
Jesus. Like, punk rock style?
I guess I wasn't there, but from what I heard, yeah. And then the police showed up. They didn't get kicked out, but the police showed up, had them all 3 handcuffed because they found weed.
Okay, I remember that part of the story.
And then Jeff called me the next morning, and he goes, "Hey, I left a bottle of Southern Comfort. It's like 3/4 full. Will you grab that and bring it back?" I go, "Yeah." Went into Jimmy's room. The bottle is completely empty.
Oh, shit.
Drank the entire thing. Really didn't have a recollection of what happened. Then we were cleaning up the hotel rooms. We got these huge bags from the club, trash bags. After a while, we started counting how many beer bottles there were. We got up to 97 beer bottles, 2 vodka bottles, a Southern Comfort bottle, and something else.
And that was for a Wednesday to... Or
Thursday.
Thursday to Sunday, right? Because Wednesday was
Thursday
their
through
open
Saturday.
mic. Because didn't they stagger that funny bone? Westport's was Tuesday. Fairview's was Wednesday.
Fairview's was Sunday.
Was it?
I believe it was.
Maybe Wednesday was free wing night or some shit.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds
It
good.
was. It was pizza night.
Yeah.
It was it was Wednesday through Saturday, but we stayed Sunday. Dave paid for a hotel to stay for open mic.
God.
That was a fun week.
Yeah, Jimmy, I remember you and Jimmy spent the night at Sean's, and Jimmy got wasted and pissed in Sean's laundry hamper.
Jesus, you guys are
It was
not
the
very
toilet.
good friends to Sean.
Sean woke up. He's like, "What the hell?" And he comes like, "What are you pissed in my laundry hamper?" I was like, "It was him."
Yeah, Joe was like, "You're not going to fuck this up for me, Jimmy. It was you."
Oh, I was mad. Like, fucking telling me. He's like, "I'm not going to say I did it. I'm not going to say I didn't do it. But I will say I will come over to your house every day for 2 years and do your laundry."
Man, one of the things about Jimmy is when Jimmy would get drunk, he became very talkative with his hands. So he'd be like, "And then we're going to go to the club," you know what I'm saying? Like, and his hands was, that's how you could tell how fucking wasted he was.
Yeah, Jimmy had a problem pissing in people's houses.
That's a big problem.
Yeah, it was a pissed on Buzz's kitchen floor. Jimmy's a sweetheart. I love Jimmy to death, but
Yeah, I mean,
Just don't let him stay
to
over.
give you an idea,
Jimmy's got to stay
of,
outside.
Of Jimmy as a comic, wasn't the most brilliant comic, but when you say a comic's comic, his CD cover was the positioning of a watch when it was time for him to get off stage. So the title of the CD was called "It's About That Time," which was, and it was just, I think it was like the clock position was at like 10:40, I want to say, because that if the MC did 10 minutes and he did his 20 minutes, he should have been off by then. Or maybe it was 10:30. And he had secret tracks on his CD called "So It's Your Birthday." And his crowd work would basically consist of him being like, drinking a strawberry daiquiri. What's the occasion? Is it your birthday?
Yeah, it's like, strawberry daiquiri. What's a special occasion? Nothing. I like strawberry daiquiris. All right, then. And then he just walked away. And it was so
Okay.
And then,
that story, Sean O'Brien is the one that saw that.
yeah.
And he told Matt, that story has spread like wildfire.
Yeah, and I remember when Matt and Jimmy lived in their apartment together, Matt went through Jimmy's notebook, and in Jimmy's notebook, it was like, he was writing his jokes out, and it was like, and then the bumper sticker said, kick your girlfriend, and then he wrote, pause for laughter.
Pause, wait for laughter.
Where's Jimmy now?
Jimmy, he's just lost into the abyss.
No, Jimmy actually has a pretty good job. He's making...
He did restoration work after, like, fires or flooding.
Yeah,
I don't know if
Jimmy's...
he's still doing that.
No, he's a cabinet maker now.
Really?
Yeah, he's got a pretty good job. I think he lives in Webster Groves.
Yeah, he got...
High taxes there.
Yeah, it's... Or Maplewood. He lives somewhere around.
I remember the story of... He was hosting for the week or so. It was a big special event week. And they always like to have Jimmy come in because he would do the announcements on the way to where they were promoting something, people would get into it. And he was so drunk from the night before and the day drink. They come into the showroom and Jimmy's up in the bullpen where the open micers sit.
Oh.
And he's laying there asleep like 10 minutes before the show.
I was there for that. It was him and Dan McKenzie. It was me, Dan McKenzie, and Jimmy all went to Jimmy's house on a Saturday night.
Okay.
And then I woke up Sunday morning, and they're just sitting up. It's like 11 o'clock, 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning. They're still drinking. I go, did you guys go to bed yet? No. I was like, oh, okay. And then Dan wanted to go to game day to watch football. I was like, yeah, I'll go with you. I was the only one still sober. For some reason, I let Dan drive. Not a good idea. But Jimmy's like, I'm going. I go, Jimmy, you need to sleep before the show. And he goes, I'll be fine. I'm a professional. He's like, we get to game day, and he goes, I'll just drink Mountain Dew. He ordered a Mountain Dew, took like 2 drinks. He's like, fuck it. Ordered a bucket of beer. I called Matt. I go, Matt, Jimmy's hammered. He's been drinking all night. He's not going to be able to do the show. He's like, tell him to stop. I go, you try and tell him to stop. And then he got Chopin to come in and fill in for Jimmy, and Jimmy was pissed. We got to the club at like 6:30, 7. Jimmy's like, I can do the show. And he walks up into the balcony and just, boom, down he goes. Passed out cold. I think people are coming in. People left. And we all went to Patrick's. It was open at the time. We all went to Patrick's. Mm-hmm. We were drinking. Left there. Went back to the club. We were playing cards. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning. Jimmy just popped. We forgot he was even there. Jimmy just pops up. Like, see you guys tomorrow. And walked out.
See you tomorrow.
God, do you remember at Pool Holes? We would go there and drink. I guess that's what Patrick's turned into was Pool Holes.
Patrick's went to Pool Holes, and they changed it back to Patrick's, and Pool Holes left.
Yeah, and Pool Holes had a manager there, and that's where we used to go and drink after we were done with work. And one night I went up there, and I was like one of the only ones, or maybe I just stayed later than everyone else, and I was wasted. And the manager from there came over the next night and was like, oh man, Poggi was horrible up there. He behaved fucking da-da-da, and it was going on about how bad I was and how much of a scene I had created, and I wasn't like allowed to go there. And then we knew the bartender, Angela, and Angela stopped by before work and was like just saying hi to us or whatever and seeing if we were going to go over there after work. And Matt was like, hey, I'm really sorry about the way Poggi behaved. And she was like, he didn't do anything out of line. And then, like, in a 2-week span, it turned out that this manager guy was just, like, some kind of compulsive liar. Like, he had lied about the way that I behaved at the bar. He lied about having cancer and telling the employees about it, and then it turned out that they found out like that wasn't true or something.
Yeah, there was a manager at Deerdorf and Harts when they were open, which this is all hearsay. I don't know how true it is, but I kind of knew the guy. Wouldn't shock me.
Right.
He was going to make the deposit, and then he claimed he was mugged, and the deposit was stolen from him. Well, it turned out he was a compulsive gambler, and just told him, "Hey, I can get you this money, but you have to meet me here and make it look like this."
I heard a story at the McAllister's Deli I used to work at. They had a manager who took the night drop and went to the casino and bet it all, he split it in half and he bet it all on black, thinking he could double it really fast, get the bonus money, and then cash out, and lost, and then was like, okay, well then we'll go red with the other half, thinking that he'd hit that at least, and then he'd have the drop that he was supposed to have, and then lost, and then was just like, well, I can't go back. And just like drove some other city and state. It was like, I live here now. So I don't think that is too uncommon of a ordeal.
No, man. In the '90s, I knew a guy who worked at Domino's, and that's the managers there. It was the Domino's on Grand and Arsenal, and I probably shouldn't even be saying this, but they're probably dead by now. One of them was a heroin addict.
Oh.
They would they basically would gamble all of the money all of the time. That store made so much that they never even noticed. It was a corporate Domino's. And, all the way up until he got like 30 grand into, that he had taken from them. And then, the police got involved.
Jesus.
You remember Spags?
Yes.
I worked with him at the pizza place. God, he was funny.
What pizza place?
Westport Pizza Company.
Yeah, it's now Emo's.
If you could ever get him on here, I highly recommend it. He's freaking hilarious.
Well, I don't know where he lives now.
He's in northern Michigan.
Yeah.
He wants to come back. I talked to him not too long ago, but he's telling me when he lived in Indiana, he would give the dishwasher, he worked at a pizza place there, he'd give the dishwasher a ride to work every day. And he said he stopped and bought a lottery. He stopped at a gas station. The guy bought a lottery ticket, and the guy just started like hyperventilating, and Spags like, what? What's going on? He goes, I pulled into the parking lot. The guy gets out of the car, just runs around the car like 5 or 6 times screaming. He's like, dude, what's going on? And the guy ran up to the manager. He's like, fuck you. I quit. I never have to work here again. And just started going off in the manager's bags. He goes, how much did you win? And the guy goes, $1,000. Oh my
God, dude. $1,000.
Spags like, what are you doing? And he was back in less than a week asking if he could get his job back.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Hit the big one.
I remember going to Deerdorf and Harts, since you brought that up, when Billy Gardell was in town, and he was just auditioning for Mike and Molly.
No, he got Mike and Molly when he was... That's when he took everyone to Deerdorf and Harts, was when he got Mike and Molly, when I got the green light.
Yeah, because I remember I didn't have any money, and we didn't know that he was going to pick up the check for everybody. We thought that he was just, like, we were going to go all out and eat together. Because Greg had been helping him read, or whatever, the script. And I was like, well, I'll go out there. I've got like $3 in my checking account. I'll just overdraft my account to pay for this fucking super fancy steak. And then he ended up buying all of us fucking dinner.
I showed up late that night.
Yeah, you missed that.
I did.
They had good steaks, too.
Yeah. If Billy hears that you still owe me a steak dinner.
Did you, do you have any John Morgan stories? As many times as he's come through? Nothing stands out in my mind.
No, I love John Morgan. He's a great guy, but nothing...
Yeah. The only thing I remember is...
yeah, actually, I have Michelle.
Yes.
It was... John Morgan likes my mom and my stepdad.
Okay.
And John Morgan came in and he goes, how's your mama? I love your mama. How's your mama and your daddy? And he's going ahead and he goes, she is a sweetheart. And Michelle said something. Goes, you know what? I really don't know her that well. She could be a bitch. Michelle goes, you'd be a bitch too if you had to squeeze that big ass head out of your pussy.
Holy fuck, that's...
John looked at Michelle like, Jesus Christ, Michelle.
Yeah.
She's like, look at his head. It's big.
There, someone had came through the Funny Bone, and it was like a mass thing where you could pay a cheap amount, and she would take headshots for you. Because you never got, we didn't have the headshots, and it wasn't that easy to get them at the time.
No.
And Joe's headshots did not turn out all that well.
No.
To where, I don't know if it was the zoom or the angle, but his head filled up like 90% of the picture.
Matt laughed. That's one of the hardest I've ever seen Matt laugh. I mean, he could not stop laughing when he saw the one. It's like, this is the best picture I've ever seen. And then, I think it was Scott Avery, cut it out. Because you remember you got like the sheet with all the different pictures.
Yeah.
He cut it out and then put it on the in the back bar where the Iron Maiden poster is now.
Right.
Put it back there, so I put a sign underneath it, Employee of the Month. I had my name on it. Gary, he's like, what's Joe doing, man? Because he's been Employee of the Month for like 13 months, Gary. What do you mean Employee of the Month? He's like, his picture's hanging up, says Employee of the Month.
Somebody had made the comment in looking at the photo that it was actual size or life size.
Yeah.
Do you still have
And
it?
because of that...
No, it got thrown away when Scott Avery bought the Iron Maiden poster.
Yeah, because of that, we had nicknamed Joe Fathead.
No, I was nicknamed Fathead before. It was when Sean O'Brien, he started that.
That was around the Tackling the Tough Issues podcast.
It was before that. You guys started tackling the tough issues in like 2011, 2010.
Yeah, well, I think 2010 is when we won that award from Riverfront Times. So, no, that would be right because that's when me and Sissel had the epic crazy night.
Yeah, you still have both ears.
Yes, and but finally Joe was like, "Fuck you, Sean. Your head's bigger than mine." And Sean was like, "No, it's not. I guarantee you it's not." So I had a seamstress tape measure that you take for measuring your waist, and we brought it in, and Sean's head was like 2 inches bigger.
Yeah, Sean has a huge fat head. And Matt's head was like an eighth of an inch smaller.
Yeah, there was... That's
And
the
both
measuring heads.
Both of them are like, we wear it better than you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, now, okay, we got to back up a little bit here to a different story. You had a lot of fight stories, but you had a recent fight story.
Yeah, just
Yeah, I got punched in the mouth a few weeks ago.
How did this happen?
Yeah, what's the evolution of this one? This confrontation?
I like my version of the story the best.
That's the one we're gonna hear.
I remember everything leading up to it, and I remember everything after. I don't remember the actual fight. But I asked a girl for a lighter, and that's what started the whole thing. It's like, can I use your lighter? And she just started going off on me. I was like, what? And then I said something to her, and her boyfriend goes, it's a good way to get yourself punched. And I'll be, goddamn, that was a good way to get myself punched.
He knew what he's talking about.
But I went to the other end of the bar, and they followed me. I was like, get away from me. I don't want anything to do with either one of you. And she wouldn't shut up. He wouldn't shut up. And then the guy I was sitting next to is probably 60s. He stood up. He goes, you guys have your jackets on. Just go home. Why escalate the situation? He doesn't want to talk to you. And the bartender, I told her, I don't want to be around him. And when he stood up and told him to leave, and he was being very nice, he was trying to defuse, this guy grabbed him and threw him to the ground. Then I jumped up, and the last thing I remember is him punching me in the mouth. From what I remember, I threw a punch, missed, tripped over a bar stool, and went down. That's a story I like. Then I remember getting up, running to the door, and Dano was there. He locked the door and was standing in front of the door. He's like, no, I'm not bailing you out of jail.
Right.
So I just went around the corner to the other door and walked out. And then he was in the car and his girlfriend was driving and they took off quick. But I just remember I don't even remember throwing a punch. But apparently I did hit the guy and we went over the pool table. I don't know. I would like to think I missed him and just fell over a bar stool and went down.
It makes the story more entertaining.
Yeah.
It could have gone either way. We really don't know.
Yeah. Some douchebag with a man bun.
With a man bun. Damn, dude, you should have.
It was
You should have
actually-
stabbed
which
him
bar
with a
was
wine
this?
glass.
Well, it wasn't really. It was a ponytail, but by the next night, it turned into a man bun, and then.
That shouldn't even be a crime to punch a guy like that.
Ron, you're not punching anybody. You can't even punch the time clock.
You have had a job for like the last 20 years. Fuck you, Steve.
Well, we need to get to...
You're sitting here in your goddamn pajamas telling me I can't punch
You don't work. Look at you. Castle.
That's just because I'm fat. And this shirt, that's like these ones.
What, did you eat the W?
I did. I was hungry. I couldn't wait.
W.
They're tasty. Okay, so we got our fucking
5 burning questions. You have to make up the 5th
Okay,
one
I have to make up
on
the 5th
fly.
one. Okay. All right, let's get this one. What is the luckiest day of your life?
These are the questions we ask every guest.
All right. The day I got my check for $80,000.
Were you shocked that it was that amount of money, or did you know? It would be
I
that
knew
much?
80,000 was. I didn't think I was getting a settlement.
Okay.
They just called my mom and said, "Are you guys looking for a settlement?" She goes, "Okay." And then he came out. I was still in high school. They came out and offered me like $62,000.
And you turned him down?
My dad did. I couldn't get the smile off my face. I was like, "Fuck, we'll take it now. I want it." He's like, "I can write you a check right now." Okay. My dad's like, "No, this isn't enough."
That's an I.
Yeah, fine. I have 2. Give me the other one, Jason.
That's a crazy, the whole insurance settlement for getting stabbed by your brother.
It was.
It's
My mom
fortuitous.
took the insurance out as Jason started driving, and she took it out in case he got in an accident. If he hurt himself driving her car, his mom could sue my parents, and as insurance covered foster kids and accidents only. And then since it was an accident, he stabbed me in the eye. It was covered.
Wow.
Guess what? I ruined that insurance policy for everyone. They canceled it as soon as they paid me.
I bet. But then you got that sweet hat factory, so that
Beaver brand hats.
Beaver brand.
Get one. Do they? Can I like buy one?
I don't know if they're still in business or not. Langenberg Hat Factory was the name of it.
I have to buy it from Chuck Norris.
I want to send Chuck Norris a letter. I love Walker, Texas Ranger.
He's still a good looking man. Okay. What is the moment you were the most afraid? When I got my eye stabbed.
No, I wasn't scared at all when I got stabbed in the eye. I don't know. Maybe when I went to jail for writing bad checks.
How did that take place?
I
This
turned-
is at the end of the $80,000, I assume.
Yeah, I wrote over $3,000 in bad checks, which, by the way, is a full-time job in and of itself.
Yeah, I was going to say, how did you pull this off? Obviously, I don't think you could get in that position now.
I wasn't worried because I had a lawyer, and he goes, "Yeah, they're going to release you on your own recognizance." I'm like, "Sweet, I'll sign my name just like I did all those checks." Got in, and it was a $5,000 cash bond, is what they told me. They go, "Oh, you're a lawyer," and then I was sitting next to these 2 Mexican guys, and you've been in jail. You know that bench they put you on is flat and has the handcuffs.
Yeah.
Mexican guy. None of us were handcuffed. This Mexican guy's playing with the handcuffs, and I'm thinking, this moron's gonna handcuff himself to the bench. And sure as shit, he boom handcuffed it. He starts yanking on it. He looks at me like, "I don't think they come off." And I started laughing, and then one cop turned around and he goes, "Don't tell me you just locked yourself up." He goes, "I think I did." I could not stop laughing. They're like, they kept looking at me like, "Shut up." The cop goes up. "You know what, Joe? There's a problem here. Your lawyer never called. You're going to be sitting in here for a while. You need to make a phone call, let someone know you're not coming home or what." I was like, "Oh, shit." I was thinking I was going to have to sit in court or sit in jail till my court date, which was like 3 months away.
Right. But that didn't turn out to be the case?
No. Then I went to make a phone call and I stopped laughing. They go, "Oh, no, they just said that, so I would shut up."
Oh, to fuck with you.
And then when I found out that I was getting released, the Mexican handcuff to the bench was just as funny.
So how did the bad check thing work out? Like, you realized you were out of money but you were still living a lifestyle, so you were like, fuck it, I'll just write these checks. Like,
Kind of. It was Preston Freight owed me. It was over $2,000 they owed me, and they kept saying the check's in the mail. Your check is being delivered. Well, I just started spending the money, thinking I was going to get the check, and then they filed bankruptcy. I never got my check.
okay. So all the checks that you had written then became bad? Or did you continue to write checks?
I continued to write them after I knew I wasn't.
You were just like, fuck it.
Yeah, I figured if I'm in this much trouble, I've gone this far, why stop here?
So how did you get picked up on the charge?
They
just came to your house?
No, I actually went to a lawyer. He told me, he goes, yeah, I'll look into this. And he goes, yeah, you have a felony warrant.
So how did it turn out? You plead to a lesser charge, pay the...
I was supposed to do 15 days, 1 year probation, 1 year supervised probation, 15 days in jail, and that's it. Then the judge, I don't know why the judge did this, but I showed up. He said 15 days suspended sentence, and 1 year unsupervised probation. Because you write any more checks in the next year, you're going to jail.
Bam. And you just didn't write any more checks and you were fine.
Yeah. I think I've had one checking account after that.
Really? Does that come up as a mark on your permanent record?
No, that's it was I was arrested with a felony, and then it was reduced to a misdemeanor.
Okay.
That's my lawyer.
We're on to the next question. I'm still listening to the. I worked on a chain gang. I got raped a few times. Which brings up this next question: worst date you've ever been on?
I went on a date with a girl. This was actually kind of recent, and we were talking, and she started talking about her dad, and she goes, "Yeah, he passed away." I go, "I'm sorry. How long ago was that?" She goes, 2 weeks ago.
Oh.
I was like, okay, that's, she was nice, and then she started talking about her dad, and I'm like, oh, fuck, I don't know how to handle this. I just met you.
What'd you end up doing? Did you just bail on it, or just wrote it out?
No, I fucked her.
As you should.
No, I did.
That's part of the healing process.
We were together for about a month or two.
Okay.
Yeah, she...
And fuck her now. She's gone.
It was weird. She was thin, but she used to be, I didn't know this, she used to be really fat. She lost all the weight and just had that loose skin.
Oh, yeah. Like a deflated eye.
Yeah, it really creeped me out. More than my deflated eye.
I believe it, man.
Loose skin is pretty nasty. Just don't do it. Okay. Biggest letdown from your parents. The liability policy, not one of them. But what did your did they ever let you down, or were they...
No, I don't think they did. We went broke, but I never wanted for anything. And even when we ran out of money, I still kind of got whatever I wanted.
Yeah.
I just tell my dad, and it was Jason and I were on the way home from Kansas, and we were 15. We had the Game Boy. My dad found out if you had 2 Game Boys, you could hook them up and play each other, but you had to have 2 games. It's like, let's find the next Walmart. He pulled into the next Walmart, bought another Game Boy, and like 3 or 4 of the same games so we could play each other on the way home. So, yeah, they never did let me down.
Was there ever an argument you had with a foster kid where they chose the foster kid's argument over yours when you were clearly in the right?
No.
No.
No, they really didn't take sides. It was just kind of...
Neutralize the situation?
Yeah, let it go. Go outside, deal with it outside. My dad did buy boxing gloves. 2 sets of boxing gloves. And he said, if you guys want to fight or box, you have to do it outside my office window so I can watch.
So I can watch.
And he wouldn't intervene. If you got your ass kicked, you got your ass kicked. If I got my ass kicked, it was like, well, better luck next time. It was...
A simpler time to live in than quarantine lockdown.
Yeah, much different time.
Kids were, but my dad was a firm believer. Kids were supposed to fight. We had
It's healthy.
My best friend Sean moved in with us when he was 12. This kid down the street, Nick, we didn't like him, and Nick pissed Sean off, so we got off at Nick's bus stop, and Sean just took off chasing him, and you see Sean run around the house, and then I see Sean run back around the house. He's like, go, go, go. He goes, Nick was crying before I even hit him. I punched him. He went against the door, and he fell down. He's crying. And we walked home. And my mom's on the phone with Nick's mom. She's like, Sean beat the snot out of Nick. And my mom goes, that's impossible. These boys just walked in the door. She goes, he did it. And my mom goes, Sean, did you beat the snot out of Nick? He goes, yeah, it didn't take very long. Then his mom came up to the house, and she's going off on Sean and me. I mean, she's just throwing this huge fit. My dad's not saying a word. And I was waiting for something, and then when she's done, he goes, are you done? She goes, yeah. He goes, all right, now let me tell you what I think about your family. He goes,
Nice.
I think you and your husband are about to get a divorce. I sense trouble in this relationship. And he just started going off on her. And then her husband called my dad. He's like, don't you ever talk to my wife like that again. You're looking at those kids through rose-colored glasses. My dad goes, you keep your mouth running, I'm going to kick the shit out of you just like Sean did your kid.
That's a good parent. Okay, number 5. So I got to make this one up. Do you have a bug out plan for if things go south?
My roommates are old. I guess I could kill them and cook them up.
Have some fine aged angie beef.
Have some Pat O'Sullivan ribeye.
Pass.
I'm not worried about this at all.
Really?
No. It's
What? How do you see this all playing out as far as the pandemic?
it's going to be over in about 6 weeks.
Because
Toilet paper is going to be on sale because you're going to have so much of it.
me and Ron were talking, and I was like, in these kind of situations, there's 2 ways it goes. You're either way over prepared or you're way under prepared as far as things go. But it seems like
We have enough food in our house. We have like 15 pounds of pasta. We have
Jesus.
peanut butter, beans, and meat. We have enough food where if we don't go to the store for a month, we're not going to starve.
Right.
And it's just, I did buy a little extra when I went to the grocery store, but I didn't go overboard. Pat O'Sullivan, my roommate, he's 71 years old. He was walking up the stairs 2 weeks ago. He fell backwards, landed on a post, broke 7 ribs, and cracked his head on the concrete floor. I mean, there's a blood stain.
God.
Jesus.
He's fine. He went to the emergency room 5 days later, and the doctor goes, you have 7 broken ribs. This happened 5 days ago? He goes, it happened 5 days ago, buddy. He's like, nobody waits 5 days with 7 broken ribs. Well, my head's fine. I swear to God, that man has the immune system of a cockroach.
What happened? Wasn't he clinically dead for a period of time that he came back?
Like 7 minutes.
Yeah. Was he in a car accident or had a heart attack?
No, he just went into cardiac arrest. He died. He ran into the Joust Chemical Building. They pulled him out of the truck and started doing CPR, which wound up saving his life. Then that night, he was in ICU. He pulled out all his tubes, pulled out everything, and walking down the hall completely naked. I go, excuse me, Mr. O'Sullivan, where are you going? He's like, just going downstairs to smoke a cigarette, buddy. I'll be back up in a minute. I'm like, we don't think you are.
Sounds like a tough guy.
He is a tough guy. He thought he was in the Vietnam War, too, when he came out of his cardiac arrest. He never served in the military, but for some reason he thought he was in Vietnam.
Well, didn't
Weren't we
say
all
that,
there at some point?
He just saw nothing. It was just...
Yeah, he said it just went to black. It wasn't like falling asleep. It wasn't passing out. It just was nothing.
That's pretty much what death is. That's it. There's no
Yeah.
more.
He's like, there was no one beckoning me to the other side. There was no one calling me over.
No, don't hope for that. That's not real. Carol Ann is just dead.
I told Pat this coronavirus, I go, this coronavirus is going to kill everyone on the face of the earth. except for you and Keith Richards. I go, then you can finally meet Keith Richards. He goes, buddy, he lives all the way up in Connecticut. I'm not making that drive.
That is a long drive.
I'm trying to think of all the different Funny Bone stories we had. We had the story of playing poker with Norm Macdonald, with Norm smoking pot in the showroom.
I wasn't there for that. I never played poker with him.
You never. I'm trying to think of who else. I remember so many stories of people just acting crazy. The one guy, I think you were running the door when the guy randomly wanted to fight John again, and was like on the other side of the door, like banging on the door.
Yeah. I had to. Tommy actually asked me. He ordered drunken fish, and he goes, "You mind walking up to drunken fish with me in case that guy comes back?" And I'm like, "No." And Matt's like, "We're getting ready to open the doors." Like, Tommy wants me to go up to drunken fish with him because of that idiot. Matt's like, "Go with him." Yeah, he's like, "You and your little humor and blah blah blah." Yeah, that guy was a douchebag.
And that was the thing, is it's not like there was any interaction between them. Just after the show, this guy just hated Tommy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
I think Tommy's very funny. Apparently, this guy had a different opinion.
Yeah, I remember when I first met John again. Like, he was engaged or about to be engaged to that girl.
Yeah.
And then they broke up, and he took it really hard, and like he had a couple of nights of like drinking, but and his like emotional handling of it, he was at open mic, and he was like, "Yeah, she left me for some guy. He's a welder. Good luck getting on TV with that bit."
I met Tommy when I lived in Chicago with Andy Woodhull. Tommy and Andy are really good friends. Tommy lived about half a mile from us. He used to come over to our apartment all the time. Really nice guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was, I don't even think he was emceeing yet when I met him.
No, I mean he had a big boost. He got the hang of funny. He got his voice down, and he started getting a lot of success really quickly.
Yeah, last I heard, he was a writer for some network.
Yeah, he's writing. He's got a couple kids now.
Yeah, good for him. He seems, I haven't talked to him in years, but he seemed happy last time I saw him.
Yeah. You remember Ramey, of course.
Ron Ramey.
He's been planes, trains, and automobiles, but you can't find that scene if you pause the whole movie.
Ron Ramey. He was, and Ron, you didn't.
No, but I saw him at Deja Vu in Columbia one time.
Okay.
Those suits he would wear were like Versace, Armani. I mean, he spent a lot of money on his clothes.
Yeah, those are expensive suits.
And he came into the Funny Bone one night, and he goes, "Man, I was blitzed." I go, when you bought that shirt, Ron?" And he goes, "Fuck you. You can make fun of my act. You can make fun of me being black. You can make racist. I don't care. Don't make fun of my outfit. I paid $500 for this shirt." I go, "Well, whoever sold it to you obviously had a good sense of humor, too." He's like, "Fuck you, Joe."
You know nice shirts. So
Yeah.
that's why it cuts even deeper when you say it.
I couldn't tell the difference between a Versace and a George you would buy at Walmart.
Right. Now, one thing that happened that I was out of town for that I always wanted to kind of talk to you about was Michelle getting sick. Because I got on Facebook one day and I just saw a post from, I think, Greg saying that she had passed away.
Yeah, that...
Because she started to have stomach aches leading up to it. Is that what happened?
I'm not sure with all the details. I got a phone call saying she had cancer.
Okay.
So I called her, and she was a trooper through the whole thing. I mean, I love Michelle to death. I really miss her. But the last text message I sent her, she was in hospice. And I go, "You think you have it rough? I have to deliver 4,000 pounds of siding by myself today." And I told Patty, and she's laughing. She's like, "Oh, you have to send that to her. That will make her laugh. She loves that." Yeah, it was the last text I sent to her. Last time I saw her, we were at the Regal Beagle.
And Wood River?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And she looked good. She was feeling good. She was fun. She looked, I mean, everything was fine. But after that, I think she kind of went down.
It seemed like it got her really fast. But you remember me and you went over there to help her move when she divorced Gail.
And James.
And
Remember James? He's screaming at Michelle, just going off, and James like, it's a nice hat. He's like, thanks, it doesn't fit. It doesn't fit, can I have it? Okay, fine. So we're moving this guy's wife out of his house, and James is helping move her stuff while he's wearing his hat.
Dude, this time, I don't remember if I'm on probation or if there's a warrant out for my arrest. But there has to be a police officer there to like monitor the situation as court mandated, because they didn't have a good separation for whatever reason it was. So here I am, the felon, like helping move stuff. Like, what's your name? I'm like, my name's Mike today. Like, don't ask me any more personal questions.
What's your name? This is not Nazi Germany.
Right.
Don't ask me any questions.
God.
Yeah, Michelle was fun.
She was.
How long ago did that happen?
I want to say like 2017, 2016.
I think it was December 2016. I think it was December 2016.
Yeah. That was... I mean, and it's not like she was like really old or anything either.
No, she was early 50s.
Yeah. And it's just, from what I understand, she was having stomach pains like that would kind of come and go. And then it became more persistent. And then when she got it checked out, she found out that she had advanced stages of stomach cancer.
Mm.
Yeah, she was misdiagnosed, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. I shouldn't say that. I don't know.
The thing I remember the most about Michelle is when we got busy at the club, something would always happen with her. Like, I remember I'm standing against the glass door that goes into the waitress area, just kind of monitoring everyone's doing last call. Michelle is always running behind, so we always called her Last Call McGraw. I actually have a birthday card that she signed, Last Call McGraw. And all of a sudden, I just see a body come in horizontally with paperwork flying everywhere. And Michelle had tripped over the rug, like running back, and became airborne and just came crashing in through the doors.
Michelle, one night, she was pissed, and it was, I don't know how many girls were there, 3 or 4. Michelle's like, I don't have anything. Patty, will you take my tables? I'm going home. This is ridiculous. I shouldn't be here. I was like, Michelle, don't you have these 2 rows right here? She's like, oh, shit. I'm in the weeds. Fuck me.
I don't have anything.
She never did catch up that night.
No.
Then she showed up. It was a Sunday. She hated working Sundays. She came in. She's sitting on the balcony at the far end of the room with her head sitting on the rail. But she was hammered. I mean, just fucked up. I walked in. I go, hey, Michelle. She's like, I'll pay you not to put anyone in my section. I go, we're sold out, Michelle. I'll give you $50 if you don't give me anyone. I go, that's going to be a little hard to do. It's like, fuck. I think that's the night she passed out waiting for her drinks.
Yeah. She always drank weed and water. Remember that? The Jeremiah weed came out, and then she just loved that.
Yeah, man, there's a lot of good stories about her.
They always called the pina colada Penis Colossus.
She flashed me one time.
I remember that.
That's a
Working
good
at the
story.
pizza place. She was at pool hall. She was like, hey, she was hammered. I was like, hey, Joe. Boom. I was like, hey, Michelle. She was, what you think? I go, not bad for a woman your age.
I remember one night we were all drinking at pool halls, and Clayton Champagne showed up, and they had the boxing machine.
Oh.
And Clayton went to go punch this thing as hard as he could and missed the machine entirely from being wasted, fell down, some guy like 3 tables over laughed at him, and he got up all embarrassed, was like going to fight this guy. And I remember her going, Clayton, you're the one that missed the machine. And he was like, you're right, I'm an asshole, I'm just going to go home. And he just left. Did you get a DUI? Is that why?
Yeah, leaving the funny bone.
Well, how long ago was that? Was like 2007 or 8?
2006. July 3rd, technically July 4th, 2006.
Were you so fucked up that you don't remember it, or you actually still remember it?
Oh, I remember I was so cocky when I got pulled over, I thought I was just going to be let go.
What happened?
Tommy asked me to work the box office. I did not want to work, but he said he was sick, so I went in and worked for Tommy. It was jam-packed. And then Matt told me, he goes, hey, we're going to need your help at the jazz club too. Free drinks if you can help. I was like, okay. So doing shots, I got hammered. And when I left, I bought a 6-pack. And I'm not kidding, not 2 minutes before I got pulled over, I finished the last beer in the 6-pack on my way home and threw them out the window. And then the cop pulled me over. And he was actually a pretty nice guy. And he goes, he handcuffed me and is if you don't act like an asshole, I'll let you sit in the front seat. I go, I'm not trying to be rude, but I'm not going to talk to you. He's like, that's perfect. He opened the front door. He's like, go ahead, this is much more comfortable. Let me get your seatbelt on. We maybe went a mile. He's like, so, how's your night been? I was like, well, it was going pretty good up until now.
What happened with your DUI? Did you get a lawyer, or did you just...
I got a lawyer that completely screwed me over.
Really?
He never told me I didn't have a driver's license. I got arrested in Kansas City for driving without a driver's license. And I called him. I go, hey, you never told me I had a license. He goes, I sent you a letter. I go, no, you didn't. You never called. You never sent the letter. He goes, oh, maybe I just forgot about that. I go, well, I got arrested and I need this taken care of. He's like, okay. And he goes, then he calls me back. He goes, yeah, it's going to cost you too much for me to take care of that. It's all the way in Kansas City. I was like, okay. He goes, I found someone else for you, though. He got me a personal injury attorney. And I didn't know it at the time, but I called him the day after the court date. I go, hey, how did that go yesterday? He goes, oh, you have a warrant for your arrest. The guy didn't show up. You didn't pay in advance. I was like, what? He goes, yeah, there's a warrant for your arrest now. It's like, this is all your fault. And then my cousin used him for something, and he never showed up for court for him. Dan Bregel. Don't ever use Dan Bregel in Franklin County.
Jesus.
But my cousin got picked up on a warrant sweep, and when they took him to Franklin County, they go, okay, this is what you're charged, blah, blah, blah. They're talking. I go, who was your lawyer? He goes, Dan Bregel. He goes, like the 12th person Dan Bregel did this to.
Jesus Christ. The guy can't still be around.
He is. He put everything, from what I heard, he put everything on the back burner. He was representing someone that kidnapped a baby and slit their mother's throat.
Jesus
Holy crap.
Christ.
It was a high-profile case.
I was going to say, it sounds like it.
Dan Bregel, attorney at law. Yeah, his shingle is still up.
He's still going around?
Yep. Go. If you want to get arrested and have a felony warrant, give him a call. He'll hook you up.
Get a good lawyer. I did not. My DUI is now murder 1. Remember
Keith Sissel.
Yeah.
I remember Keith, after he lost his ear, he stayed in the weigh station. I go, Keith, really like talking to you. I never get the feeling what I say to you goes in one ear and out the other. He didn't crack a smile. He just looked at me. He's like, that's really funny. Can I use that? I go, it's all yours, Keith. He wrote it down, and he came off stage, and I was out in the bar area. He came off, he goes, did you hear your joke? I go, no. He goes, fucking applause break, man. Thanks.
Now, your mom actually wrote a book about the different experiences she had with all the foster kids, right?
Yeah.
Do you know the name of that book?
It's Through Hell and Out the Other Side. You can get it on Amazon. Ellen Harley.
Ellen Harley. And if you're listening to this, we will have a link in the show notes. Through Hell and Out the Other Side.
That doesn't really paint a really good picture of you, Joe. If it was a book about her
He
experiences.
got his eyeball deflated.
She had to change all the names in the book to
Of the
avoid.
foster kids?
Yeah. I am Bert in the book.
Joe
That's
is
a pretty
Bert.
cool name. You could. I
My
think.
middle name's Albert, and my sister's high school boyfriend called me Bert. They found out. So Bert just stuck. I'm still called Bert by quite a few people.
Now, what are you doing comedy-wise? Are you still active, or is it just kind of an afterthought now? Did you get sick of it?
No, I got a real estate license, and when I was taking the classes, I stopped doing comedy because I had classes at night.
Right.
And I never really got. I've done it 4 or 5 times in the last 6 months.
Is this the house you grew up in?
It's my grandparents' house.
If there wasn't this whole quarantine,
$12.99. You can get it today. Buy one.
if there wasn't the quarantine going on now, would you still be actively trying to do stand-up, or is it something you're just not that concerned with anymore? Is it just a hobby?
No, I really like it. I enjoy it. I don't know why I quit doing it. It's just one of those things that
It just falls by the wayside.
yeah. When we open back up, I'll start doing it again.
Okay.
You did the open mic a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. I figured if I started hitting open mics and Matt would let me do some guest spots. And
Do you have any stories you want to close us out on?
what kind of stories do you want?
I'm trying to think of any obnoxious customers we've had to deal with at the Funny Bone. Did you work the midnight show where the guy was sitting up front? Like if you're facing the 2 center aisles, we have the left with those aisles that go all the way to the wall, but are still like have access to the
Yeah.
like the far left VIPs if you're looking at the stage. There was a guy that was sitting up there that got sick during the show, got up, ran around, and as he was coming around the corner, puked on the people at the end table.
Ooh, God
Yeah,
damn.
I wasn't there for that. I was there. It was a group of 12 came in for the midnight show, and they just looked like a bunch of fat rednecks. And I put them right by the door. I was like, Matt, there's no way they're going to make it. And they started ordering buckets of beers and shots and everything and they're like, social! And Matt goes, oh, good call putting them by the door. Show started, not a peep out of them. The one lady started to act up, and the rest of them like, shut the fuck up. You get us kicked out of here, we're going to be pissed. I was like, Matt, they're policing themselves. Don't say a word to them. They're fine.
Yeah, I remember being at the podium taking tickets, and this guy walks up with a hat that said something. It was like a foam trucker hat that was like, fuck you guys or something. And he had a t-shirt that said, smile if you like it in the ass. And he slams down an empty tall can with a paper bag. And he goes, sit me up front. I want to fuck with this guy. And I'm like, okay, well, actually, sir, our owner's not coming in tonight. Would you like the owner's box? And I sat him up in the box in the very far back of the room by himself. He's like, this is great. I think we got this whole thing to ourselves. But, God, I remember I'd catch people walking out, and I'd be like, hey, guys, we have a policy. I don't know if you saw the sign when you came in, but if we catch anybody on a walkout, it's a $5 fine. Otherwise, we have to call the police and process the paperwork. And so then they would, because normally people would walk out and they would just pay their bill and not leave a tip. This forced them to start tipping. And then usually I'd tell the girls, and the girls would just usually give it back to me. But, yeah, I can't think of any of... We you know who we need here is Eric. We need to have Eric. Eric, for some reason, he has like some kind of photographic memory.
Eric.
Door guy Eric.
Eric Puccio.
Yeah. Of crazy shit.
One guy, it was a group of like 11 or 12. They were on the balcony, midnight show. He passed out. Once you pass out, that's fine. You're not bothering anyone.
Right.
Just sleep. I don't care.
We just leave you there usually.
But he woke up and started screaming at the stage. I go, dude, you got to keep it down. He's like, I'm funnier than he is. Like, well, you can come Tuesday to open mic and try it out. He's like, fuck you. And he grabbed me. And when he grabbed me, I grabbed him by the throat and pushed him against the wall. And his friends were like, we're leaving. Dude, please let him go. We're leaving. I was like, man, you guys have me outnumbered like 8-1.
Right.
And I turned around and I realized that all the people that worked at Casa, all the waiters, kitchen staff, they surrounded the balcony and they're just like, when I turned, like, you want us to come up and help you handle this? I was like, no, I think I'm good right now. They're leaving.
Have you ever gotten into a physical altercation removing somebody from the funny bone?
No.
I don't think so either. Usually they get caught and they'll say the same thing. I wasn't even doing nothing. I was just laughing.
I was laughing too loud.
Yeah. I was trying to help the guy. Women were the fucking worst. God, dude, so obnoxious. Because they're like, I'm pretty. Everybody loves it when I say stuff. Why are you telling me to be quiet? They would get so offended when you'd be like, hey, you need to keep it down.
I did have one guy. He was being kicked out, and I actually quoted Roadhouse to him.
Yeah.
And he's like, you're an asshole. I was like, opinions vary. Which, by the way, there was like 4 couples there. They were all being asked to leave. And as soon as I started quoting Roadhouse, Matt, every door guy, the entire staff just took off. You could hear them laughing in the box office and the wait station behind the bar. And I was standing there like, what's that mean, opinions vary? I go, well, opinions vary. It's like, I have $8,000 I was planning on spending tonight, and I was going to spend it at the jazz club, but now I'm not going. I go, were you planning on buying the jazz club?
Why do people always do that when they're I was going to spend $10,000 buying hats from you. Like, that's going to change anybody's mind. Like, oh, okay, we'll just continue to be an asshole then.
We had the Christmas party at the casino, and Gerald got too drunk, and they made him go to his room. They didn't kick him out. And he was like, I spent $1,000 in here. And Matt's like, Gerald, that's not a lot of money at the casino.
I was with him when he was saying, I was like, Gerald, a lot of people spend $1,000 in here tonight. Like, fuck me and my stupid ass. Like, just shut up and go into the other side. Just walk around. But he wouldn't shut up, so they escorted him to the elevator.
Now, we'll close this out on one of my favorite stories that I like hearing is Gerald comes into the club one night and doesn't realize it's open mic night. So there's a bunch of people in the showroom, and there's some first-timer on stage bombing. And Gerald's running around with both lights, like waving up, running back and forth between the posts.
Who's
He's
Gerald?
like, he's the owner of the club.
Okay.
He's like, this guy's terrible. How much are we paying him? This is awful. And that's
I remember that.
Gerald, it's open mic night. He's not getting paid at all. He's like, well, thank God. So with that, we will close you out. That's it for Radiation Island. If you're on quarantine lockdown, you can go to the show description. You can watch any of the episodes. You can listen to them on iTunes, Spotify. Download the MP3, Stitcher. It's all available there. Make sure you pick up Joe's mom's book, Through Hell and Out the Other Side, written by Ellen Hardy.
Harley.
You can get it on Amazon right now, $12.99. That's a bargain. You're going to need some reading material.
$12.99. Yeah, you want to listen to more paratrooper-esque stories?
Is that in the book?
Yeah.
The knife.
I actually wrote that part in the book.
So that's going to do it for this week.
I'm a multi-talented
We
guy.
would tell you guys to go to someone's show, but you can't leave the house.
No show. All the shows are on like the internet now. There's like 50 internet open mics. Could there be like anything worse than an internet open mic than wrestling without an audience? I don't know if you caught that the other day, but it was pretty fucking horrible.
I didn't watch it, but I saw.
I just saw it online. It looked pretty bad.
But that's gonna do it, guys. Thank you very much, Joe. Thanks for coming by.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Joe.
guys.